And lawyers, ladies and gentlemen out there, what's happened, and this is my opinion, it doesn't reflect the opinion of the station or Mr. Lopez or anybody or Mr. Gonzalez out there in Laredo, but what I'm going to say it, is that the pharmaceutical companies, the insurance companies, and their lobbying groups have made lawyers, vilified them, and made them seem so god-awful that they're going to separate a lawyer from their client, keep them away from each other. Perfect. There's no justice. Then on top of that, let's go ahead and legislate and pass laws that'll preempt or prevent you from bringing this. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got to assert your rights. I say it again and again on this show. Get on the phone with your congressman. Get on the phone with your state rep. Get on the phone with your senator. And also, if you have questions, now remember, this does not constitute legal advice. This right here is just basic information brought, and lawyers like him, out of their busy schedules, they take their time to donate this information, this general information. But if you have any questions, call the attorney of your choice. But if you have a question about this show, make sure you call Mr. Webster at jwebster@thematthewslawfirm.com or toll free 888-222-7052. And that's here in New York and nationwide. They can try to help you. We've got a few minutes left. I am just itching to ask you about these wires in this box. Okay. And I think people were seeing this on TV and saying, what in the world is this, Jason? We've got, what happened with this? Is this a pacemaker or what is it?
Well, it's not actually a pace. It can be a pacemaker. This is a Medtronic, what they call defibrillator. It can be a pacemaker. It can be either one. They've got it where they program it. They basically place the thing in your chest here at this point. You have these wires that attach here at this point in time. And it leads down into your heart and in certain areas where, into certain areas so that it monitors the electronic impulses in your heart at the time.
Right.
Should your heart become out of if you start to have a heart attack, or have what they call an arrhythmia, which is basically a quiver of your heart and it doesn't start to work right, this thing should shock you back into rhythm and make it work correctly.
Right.
The problem lately has been with these Medtronic lead devices, and the United States Supreme Court the other day ruled that if you sue them for a design defect, you do not have a claim anymore, but you still have the right to a manufacturing defect. And lately we've been working on those types of cases.
And what's the difference between a manufacturing and a design defect for people out there when somebody manufactures something and somebody designs it? Okay. What's the difference?
Okay, well, when we say design, we're talking about this thing, when you say design defect, it means it should have been designed in some other way.
Okay,
meaning
gotcha.
It should have been built in a different way.
Gotcha.
Okay? Versus a manufacturing defect, which is, hey, when you made the thing, the materials went bad, or the thing broke in half, or it had a leak in the seal and it went bad inside. It's like a bad motor pump on a car. Anything like that, a warranty work type problem. They built the car correctly, the car was designed correctly, but yet the transmission goes out because it was defective at the time. So it's a manufacturing defect. Currently, the problem with these types of devices is there's been cracks in the leads. And when you get a crack in these leads, this thing has to be completely sealed the entire time. If not, you start to get blood inside these types of leads. Well, that can lead to two things. One, it can lead to the fact that it will not work at all, so that when you have a life-threatening event or a heart attack, which is the reason they place these things in your chest to begin with, is to monitor your heart and to try to save you if you get the chance. One, it will not work, or number two, it'll start to leak and it'll start shocking you, which is extremely painful.
Goodness.
just out of the deal. Now, and here's the even bigger problem. If they have to remove the lead, it is a very, very difficult and dangerous procedure because they actually have to, when they actually put these in, they only have to sedate you. It's a mild surgery. It only takes one day and you're back at home. They monitor you for a little while, you're back at home, you come back the next day. This procedure to remove the lead is much more invasive because once they've wired it in your heart and they have it in there, it takes a lot more, it takes a specialist, and there's only a few doctors in the country that can actually do that. So the problem lately has been with the Medtronic Sprint Fidelis lead, which was in from 2004 until the present, approximately about a year ago, was the only type of was 90% of the lead that they were using at the time when they put it in. Well, they've come to find out that the caps and the surrounding issues with the leads cracks, and over time develops it where you can get blood going inside of it, and it starts to malfunction.
Well, and I appreciate you kind of breaking that down in a way that everybody can understand, whether they're in medicine or not. Now, you say that and it's basically an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We got a couple of minutes left, but this is yet another example of products that are being put out there, whether they are pills, and we want to be fair. There's a lot of good products out there. There's a lot of good research that pharmaceutical companies do, but we've got to get better, and we've got to save lives. And if the whole thing is stomp on lawyers that are trying to stand up for justice, that's wrong. And we've got about a minute and a half, but I want you all to know that Jason,
I'll say this too.
Yeah,
I'll say these things cost.
Take it away.
These things cost $50,000 basically, and it's paid by Medicare or Medtronic to put the thing in. For $50,000, they can make it right, and that's all we're saying. Now these people have to go back through another life-threatening procedure to take these things and remove them. They risk the chance of infection, they risk the chance of complications, they risk the chance of death, especially since it won't work if they need it in a life situation. Joe, I thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, and one of the things that we want to know is that, it's important to bring on lawyers that take their time to talk about different topics. We've talked about different products that are out there because it's important. Now more than ever, we're looking at China and toys, we better look at China and drugs, and we better look at our own fingernails to see if they're dirty before we start pointing the finger. We've been pouring it out about China, and the media's been blasting them. All the while, there have been products out here that have been endangering us. So please, if you've got a question, contact my good friend and excellent trial lawyer, Jay Webster. That's Jason Webster. Contact Jay Webster at thematthewslawfirm.com, and you can visit his website. Don't forget to put that "the" in the beginning of it, thematthewslawfirm.com, or toll free 888-222-7052. And thank you for having us. And you're out here on Sackett here in Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas.
And please stay tuned. We're going to have David Matthews, also from the Matthews Law Firm, and we're going to be talking to him about some issues. In part 2 of this segment, we're going to be looking at the effects that they've done on closing the courthouse doors and how we can prevent that when we come back.